welcome back to Afternoon Live. Okay, when you've done wrong in your relationship, sometimes the hardest thing to do is say you're sorry. Okay, well, here with some helpful tips to find out the right way to apologize, we welcome couples therapist Megan Meganson is back, one of my favorite people. Hi, Megan.
Hey, I'm so glad to be back today.
I am too, because apologizing is not easy in a relationship sometimes. Why is that?
Well, it takes vulnerability to apologize, right? We have to kind of show up and own what we've done wrong, and nobody likes being wrong.
I know I don't.
I don't either.
Oh, not at all. But sometimes I find it like easier to apologize to a stranger or even just like a colleague as opposed to my spouse.
Yeah.
For some reason, that just feels scary.
It is really scary, and you're pointing out a really important pattern. This happens in all of our relationships, right? So one thing that's really helpful to understand is that all relationships follow the same cycle. We start out attuned, right? We're connected, we're happy, everything's going well, but inevitably there's a rupture. If it's with your colleague or your spouse, something happens that disconnects us. Right? And the next step in this cycle is being able to repair a rupture when it happens. And this is truly the key to successful relationships. If you know how to apologize and repair relationships when they break down, all of your relationships are going to continue moving forward in a really healthy way.
Okay, all right. Now you have some tips to help us apologize the right way.
That's right,
so
I do.
What's the first thing that we need to know?
So the first thing, this is the most important step in an apology, is starting the apology by being very specific about what you have done wrong.
Okay, so not specific about how you got, to the point to wherever you did something that you weren't supposed to or said something you didn't mean. But owning up your own stuff and saying specifically what that is.
Exactly, because how many times has someone apologized to you by saying, I'm really sorry that you feel that way? Right.
That's the worst.
It's the worst. Anytime my husband apologizes to me like that, it just ramps up my anger, right? I just feel more frustrated with whatever happened. So what I would love for you to do is to start an apology by simply saying, I am so sorry that I blank.
Okay.
Right? So maybe if it's just a simple example, I'm really sorry that I snapped at you when you walked into the kitchen.
As I'm listening to you, my heart is going boom, 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 boom.
It's kind of making you nervous just thinking about it.
Yes, and only because there's always reasons, I guess. I guess everybody has a reason why they snap or why they've done something, but it doesn't make it right.
And this is the number one mistake people make, is trying to explain themselves before they offer an apology. So this actually moves into step number 2, right? After you've taken ownership for what you did wrong, you've been really specific about why you're apologizing. The next step is to access empathy, right? And empathy is the ability for us to imagine what it feels like to be in someone else's shoes. So I might say, I'm so sorry I snapped at you. I imagine that felt really painful, and I'm sorry that I made you feel that pain.
Wow, that's a really good apology.
Right, it feels really,
You
really
didn't even
good.
do anything to me right now, and I'm feeling
and
like
we're already
I want to say,
attuned
it's okay,
again. Yes,
Megan.
thank you. I'm so glad that we're repairing this, rupture that didn't really happen.
Right, but that's a great example of how you can tap in and sort of diffuse even the situation that's probably already escalated.
Right. And the brilliant thing is that once we validate the other person and they're feeling seen and understood, then we can move into step number 3, which is to offer a bit of context around why it happened. But there's a big disclaimer here. Keep it brief.
Okay, wait, so now we get to sort of explain why we did what we did?
Right, because it's important that we understand where the breakdown happened so that we can prevent it from happening again.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So if I want to tell you that maybe I was feeling really stressed about a work situation and you caught me off guard when you came in the door, I'm going to say that. And then that's all I'm going to say, right? Because the longer you go on, the quicker your apology really turns into a bunch of excuses.
Got you.
Right.
No, I can see that happening all day. Now, is there a way that someone receiving the apology can receive it in a gracious way to help lend way for you to be able to move through these steps?
Absolutely. And I think you just experienced that graciousness. When we have somebody look at us and say, I imagine that felt really hurtful, and I'm so sorry that I hurt you, it really de-escalates us, right? It kind of puts out the fire that we were feeling inside that would have fueled us to get defensive and angry and all of those things.
Right.
So often just being able to accept that someone is putting themselves in our position really calms us down so that we can have a more productive dialogue.
Oh, yeah, no, I totally see that happening.
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
what's the last tip?
The last tip, once you've moved through this process, you've been specific, you've had empathy, you've given a bit of context, is to actually ask the other person if there's anything else that they need.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Okay,
so this
Megan.
is a tough one.
So on top of all of that, then I have to say, and what else can I do for you?
Right. Or maybe you could say, is there anything I could do that could help us reconnect?
Okay.
Or that could help
okay,
us move
okay.
through this.
Right. So sort of extending that olive branch on top of the apology to
Exactly.
say, I mean it.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I want to know if there's anything more I can do to help you get through this.
You're making me feel so good just hearing you say that right now.
Really?
Yes.
So I know how to do it?
You can do it. You're a relationship expert.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
no, yeah. I'm going to go practice that because
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that I've needed to apologize a time or two.
And we all need to practice it every day in all of our relationships. If it's a colleague or a spouse, it doesn't matter. The more we can do this, the better our relationships are going to be.
I even think it's probably good with kids, too.
If you can teach kids these skills, I think the whole world would be an entirely different place. These are excellent skills to teach kids when they first start really engaging in social relationships.
Yeah, no, and we're their first models, so there it is.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Megan. These
You're
are
welcome.
awesome tips, as usual, helping us stay together.
Doing my best.